Hello, party people. How are you guys doing today? I am lovely, just a little sippy. Lubricate the old throat. Need it. A dry throat, old man, it happens. But today I would like to talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, especially with the AI revolution nearly at our doors, and the whole concept that, women are, as a species, about to be outdated. And I, for one, am most pleased by this development. You might not be. You might say, oh, this is awful. What are the femoids going to do in a world where, they can be replaced by, robots and all of that? Or that, you can't get a real woman, therefore you're subhuman, or whatever their argument is. Certainly, maybe possible. Certainly possible. As a forever black-pilled cringe lord I can take the criticism. I'll live. But let's examine what a real woman is, and that's what I would like to do today. So there's a lot of people that, seemingly praise the whole concept of a real woman, but I would argue that concept doesn't really exist. The women in your, Tinder profile are probably bots, but let's pretend they aren't. They're basically so makeup and filtered that they're not even real women anymore. To me at least, when you describe the concept of what a real woman is, it's almost intangible in modern day, because there is no such thing as a real woman. Show me a woman that isn't, makeup, tattooed, filtered up in modern day, who isn't basically, lying. At least the AI pretends to be real. It has some semblance to something you might conceptualize as a woman, or the values of femininity, right? Modern day women, though, they're nothing like that. They're using filters, they're using all of these things that are artificial in nature. A lot of the same things that buff up their appearance are, based off concepts of AI to begin with. So in essence, modern day women are probably more fake, if not faker, than the AI. Now, I know that sounds like a cope, right? That sounds like a huge piece of cope. And maybe that is. Maybe somewhere out there, they're actually, not, intangible objects created with some sort of algorithm, that's been run over an image that's already has makeup on it, that has, just think about this. Every single image you see is probably, there's one layer of lies, which is makeup. There's another layer of lies, which is the filter. There's, the third and fifth layers of lies, which is whatever they've said about themselves that's probably not true, just because, I lost my target. Whoopsie. But there's then the third set of lies, which is, all the things they've said, which are probably objectively just lies. And then there's the fourth set of lies, which is, their personality and the things they believe in. Because let's be clear here, they're probably not telling the truth about virtually anything. If they're willing to lie about their appearance to that extent, it's just, there's so many levels of abstraction and lies just to begin with on the door. You can't really say that the women you encounter in real life or on the internet are actually real. So if it's between one form of unreal women and the other form of unreal women, I'm going to generally pick the one that at least has the things I'm looking for in a potential relationship, which is going to be the AI girl, which is why this is so threatening to women. The real reason AI threatens women is because real women are not, quote-unquote real women are not actually real women to begin with. They're just these, bleeding machines that have a million lies strewn about themselves that are completely intangible. The girl you see on your phone is not actually what she is like or what she's going to look like, right? And you don't really know that. And the only way to know that is to know the girl in real life, to interact with her. And most men that do know women in real life and interact with them do not treat them so kindly, are not that keen on women. The real misogynists are the ones actually going out there and interacting with women. And why? When a woman says that all men are terrible, I can completely understand where that perspective comes from, because the only guys that would be willing to interact with women are probably the terrible people, are probably the bad people that want to use them for, their bodies and then dump them. And that's the only women that, the only men that women are interested in to begin with. But it's also mutual. Men naturally have over 100,000 years have built to detect fakes. Like, that's why the whole, you know, trans thing doesn't work. Like, most men just innately know when there are some, you know, examples of passing, right, that work for a couple years through an absurd amount of makeup and plastic surgery, you know. And that's the thing is, like, these men wearing women face are just as female as regular females on your Tinder app. You know, it's crazy to think about, but that's actually true. So when you have all of these factors combined, and then you can only really judge them by their personality then. And what would I rather have? A personality I can literally program, literally train off data sets that's going to make it, you know, exactly what I'm looking for, exactly what I hope it would be, versus, you know, someone who's going to be not feminine, demanding, cringeworthy, and all of the other things that the modern woman is, on top of being just innately a lie. It's a really tough sell, I think, to try and force anyone into this agreement. Like, people are going to do it, right? There's always going to be some guy that wants to get his, you know, D wet, as the expression goes. And it doesn't really matter how bad it is for him, he's still going to do it just because he's desperate. I've talked with a lot of married guys, and a lot of them literally didn't care about the person they were with. They just wanted to pass on their genes at the end of the day. And that was their sole priority, prerogative and priority. And that was all they really cared about. At least most of the guys that are still in relationships that I've talked to, that's it. Is that they have a biological imperative inside of them that's going to force them into this, and they don't care about how bad the situation is. Like, they would go with, you know, Rosie O'Donnell if it meant, you know, they could pass on their genes. They would go with literally Jabba the Hutt if it meant they could pass on their genes. Like, they just don't care, and that's why anyone that would be willing to accept their DNA was good enough for them. So I don't think that's quite a good enough standard. Like, usually the people, especially those guys, unfortunately, they're like, I'm married with children. They always had the children part because that's really the important part to them. They really only cared about passing on their DNA. They don't care about the quality of their life. You know, they don't care about the divorce that's pending on them that is almost assuredly going to come. Like, you know, 88% or whatever it is of women file divorce. And, like, you know, the marriage statistics are getting a little bit better just because so fewer men are actually getting involved in this. But, you know, outside of a biological imperative that some guys are apparently incapable of controlling, I don't see a lot of reason to even associate with a real woman. Like, objectively, the AI is going to be better. Both are not real. And I need a new term for real women. Like, I could just call them 3D PD, but that would be rude. But I'm going to do it anyways now going forward. So the difference between 3D PD and AI is simply that AI, both are lies, but the AI will be at least what you're expecting and what you want. And a lot of guys are going to sit there and be like, I can fix it. I can fix her, you know. And Godspeed to them for trying, like, you know. But the reality is with AI, it's not I can fix her, it's how should I fix her. You know, it's how do I retrain my model to be more in line with my expectations or what I want. And when you compare that to, you know, the options that are out there, I think a lot of guys in the very near future are going to take this sweet AI pill. And I'm going to be seen as less of a schizo and more of a, you know, savant for all of these things. Because 3D PD is not real. Like, that's the title of the video right there, boys. I figured it out. 3D PD is not real. Real women are, you know, more fake than AI, I would argue. Because at least AI are honest with you. They're unbearably honest. You know, they're uncomfortably honest, especially because, you know, if you've looked at the statistics and a lot of the things AI will spit out when you try and get it to, you know, go into racial tactics, like, the engineers at Google and such have to train the AIs not to be racist because the AI's default is to be racist, to analyze the situation with, you know, modern, unconventional, and very less than progressive takes on a lot of issues. And, you know, I think it says a lot about what objective reality is if the AI is willing to say it when humans aren't, because the AI doesn't have any biases like humans do. You know, the AI just sees the objective data behind the situation and is spitting out the logical answer. At least to me, I can respect that. I can respect it, you know. As they say, Tay's law, any sufficiently advanced AI is going to be racist. And that's, you know, that's Tay's law. That's one of the laws of the internet. And I think it's a reality. And I can't wait to embrace my AI. I'm going to train it off Mein Kampf, the entirety of 4chan, you know, and then the stuff that's related to who I want it to be, which is Haru Sami from Jisenjiao no Mao. So I'm going to throw in the entire visual novel script for Jisenjiao no Mao, and then I'm going to train my AI off of that, and then I'm going to see what comes out. And I have a feeling it's going to be perfection. It's going to be peak irony. And, you know, that's at least my dream about where these things are going. So, you know, anytime you see anyone talking about this kind of stuff, like, oh yeah, dude, big dad have, you know, 18 billion kids, the best thing I ever did. No, doubtful, but hey, if it makes him happy, right? He's passed on his genes, mission accomplished, or whatever his goal was. Like, you know, more power to that person. You know, I am not supporting it. I think it's a dumb idea, and they're mostly dumb people that, you know, generally speaking, dumb people can't control their emotions, which are probably a lot of the whole married men, at least, genre. I'd refer to them probably as mostly people that are unable to control their emotions, which is why they're in that position. You know, I don't know, because when I was growing up, I always saw equality, and I believed in the lies about equality, about relationships, you know. I was saving myself for marriage. I wanted a stock standard happy life, and it just wasn't ever going to happen for me because I'm short, and, you know, why would a woman choose me when she can be one of, you know, 10 of Shad's harem? And it makes sense, obviously. Like, apparently having, you know, 1/10 of Shad is better than me. Again, you guys are ready for the incel cope, so here it is. Let's get out with it. And that's the reality of the situation. But in that world, in that context, I will still find a way to manage, which is going to have to be AI. You know. And so that's the reality without copium, and then there's the other part, which is copium. But, you know, either way, I don't think men sleeping around is good for you either. I should make a video about that. Yeah, that's going to be another video about why men sleeping around is bad as well. But I've ranted long enough on this. 3D PD are not real women either. You know, just make sure you're extra careful in your interactions in the world, and you have a great day.